And welcome to ESO Daily. I am your host, Mr. Craven. All right, guys, so I'm going to be starting my new build updates for the upcoming chapter, Summerset. And today I'm going to introduce you to my new Nightblade tank build for Summerset. And this is called the Shadow Walker. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get into it. Now, keep in mind, I am on PTS, and this is a build when Summerset does go live. So let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so I'm going to be using a sword and board destro build, right? On sword and board, you're going to go ahead and see my max magic is at 20,517. Max health at 34,005, slightly under 35. You're going to see max stamina at 2137, and resistance prior to my buffs or anything is 19 and 22. I will go ahead and get into all that as far as your resistance goes. Okay, I have 14 points allocated into magicka, 32 into health, 18 into stamina. I am using triple max food. I am a vampire, so vampires do come in handy with tanks, especially with the undeath passive. Comes in really handy, plus you get that nice boost to your recovery. I'm going to be using the Steed Mundus. Now, if you want to use the Lord, you can. If you want to go ahead, increase that health, or you know, want more, you know, stamina pool or something, you can use whatever your Mundus you want. Since I'm going vampire, I opted with the Steed just to offset some of that health recovery loss and give me an extra 5% towards the movement speed. Only reason I went with the Steed. All right, so on destro side, now keep in mind, I'm going to be using a frost staff, right? Very important. Why am I going to be using a frost staff? With the changes upcoming Summerset, two-handed weapons now count as 2 slots, so that allow me to maintain my bonuses. It'll also give me a magic taunt and a magic block, so comes in really handy. Plus, when you weave up heavy, hi Robert, how you doing? Hope everything is well. When you weave up heavy, you can also gain magicka return, so it comes in really handy. So I'm going to go with the frost staff. Not too much of a changes as far as the stats go, except spell resistance drops a little bit. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the sets here and what we're doing. So we're going to be using Tava's Favor. No surprise, especially for a Nightblade tank. Nightblade tank really benefits from this because we're going to use Mirage as one of our primary abilities. Now, Tava's Favor goes ahead and gives us max health, gives us stamina recovery, gives us magic recovery. But when we dodge an attack, we receive the blessing of Tava's and we generate 9 ultimate over 3 seconds. All right, very, very important to remember with the Mirage ability. So we got the mace. It's infused with the Crusher's enchantment. All right, we're going to go with the Shield of Tava's infused max stamina. I will explain why that is very important. Well, I'll just go over it now. Okay, so on the staff side, you're going to see my stamina is lower than my magicka, right? So when I use an ability and I switch over, now my stamina is higher. So if I click a shard or an orb on the shield side, my stamina is higher. So guess what that allows me to do? Allows me to recoup the stamina I need. If I'm on the staff side and I hit that resource, now I get more magic. I get the magicka instead. You see how that's working? So when I swap to the staff, I get, if I need magicka, boom, I pick up the shard, I get magicka. If I need stamina and I pick it up on this, boom, I get the stamina back. Okay, very, very important. Very important how that works. Okay, so also we're going to be, now this is the Ice Staff. Now this is Decisive. I went Decisive with the Weakening enchantment. Decisive is very important because when I gain ultimate on the staff side, I have a 40% chance to gain an additional ultimate. Keep in mind with the Tavas, when I dodge an attack, I generate ultimate. On top of that, I'm going to be using the Blood Spawn. Now notice that my resistance was a little low, so when I hit my buff and I go in, I'm at 22 and 26, right? So when I look at the blood spawn, we're going to get that 6. That's going to push us up towards the cap mark, right, when it takes effect. So we really want to go ahead and utilize that. Plus, when it does activate, we generate 14 ultimate. And once again, that clicks in with the decisive trait. Comes in handy. Really, really good. Okay, so blood spawn, head infused with the triple enchantment. So really, I get the max magicka, max health, max stamina infused, ideal. Curse of Tavas, once again, triple stat enchantment. Infused, ideal. Bloodspawn's Pauldron, sturdy. Okay. Stamina, ideal. Now keep in mind that's medium. This is heavy, and our waste is going to be light to maintain the Undaunted passive bonus. So Sash of Tava's, sturdy. Stamina, ideal. Now this is the secondary set I opted with the Summerset, and this is very important. This is the Gauntlets of Glory. This is the Glory set. Glorious Defender. Where do you get it? You get it in Maelstrom. Now, if you can't do Vet Maelstrom, if you can't, you can collect these pieces in the normal dungeon as well. So you can farm it at the end of each round. There will be a chest. That's where you get the Glorious Defender set. And why am I opting for the Glorious Defender set? Very simple. I'm getting max health. I'm getting max health. I'm getting weapon damage. But this is the big one. When I deal damage with a light or a heavy attack, I have a 9% chance to gain 100% to dodge the next attack against me. That pairs well with Tava's, right? So when I dodge an attack, I generate ultimate. So I do a light attack, generate proc up the Glorious Defender, dodge, generate ultimate. Okay, add that with Mirage, I'm increasing my dodge chance. Just that simple. So that's why this is called Shadow Walker. This is the Shadow Walker build. Really, really, really good. Really good. So this is sturdy, max health, ideal, Greaves of Tava's, triple enchant, infused, ideal, Sabatons of Glorious, the Glorious Defender, sturdy, max health, ideal. Now here's a big one. Big changes with jewelry crafting. And you notice that I'm an Argonian. Now, I'm an Argonian. You can go any race, but if you do go Argonian, I suggest going all infused on your jewelry. Why? Because I'm going to glyph it with the Alchemy Acceleration Enchantment. The Acceleration Enchantment reduces the cooldown of my potions by 7.6% for each versus the 5 second cooldown. So typically I only got a 15% reduction towards my cooldown. Now I'm looking at 22 point something on my reduction cooldown. That's huge. That's almost an additional 7 seconds taken off my timer. So you want to go, if you're going to be an Argonian, no matter what class, you want to take advantage of the Alchemy Acceleration Enchantment, right? Very, very powerful. I cannot stress it enough. Okay? Once again, 2 rings. All of these are with the reduction cost, or the reduction for the alchemy. All right? So let's go ahead and get into the skills really quick. Okay, primary bar is going to be our sword and board. We're going to use Pierce Armor. No surprise, going to apply Major Fracture, Major Breach. This is the big change with this build. So I'm going to be using the Elemental Weapon from the Psijic Order skill line morph. Why am I going to use this? Very simple. I'm going to be doing a lot of light, heavy attacks with this build. When I do that, I can apply a status effect. The concussion is really good for my group because when they're concussed, it increases the damage against the target. So as a tank, I'm essentially debuffing the target with this ability throughout the weave. So I'm going to take advantage of it. And keep in mind, I'm also going to use the Leeching Strikes. So that pairs up well. It combos up really nice. Also keep in mind in the Psijic Order passives, okay, when I cast the Psijic Order ability while I'm in combat, I generate the Spell Orbs. That's a little bit of extra additional damage. Also, while I have a Psijic Order ability slotted, now this is very, very important. I have to have an ability slotted. I gain a damage shield that absorbs 5,000 damage, right? And then when I don't block for 10 seconds, it recharges. Okay, so really, really nice. And then also when I cast casting or channeling a Psijic Order ability, I gain major protection, which I will not be channeling. But, you know, there it is. David, what's up? Hope you're doing well. All right. Keep going on to the skills. We're going to use Heroic Slash. Okay, very important that we use Heroic Slash. Why? Once again, we're going to apply the Minor Meme. That's a debuff, but we're going to get the Minor Heroism, granting us Ultimate. That's what we want to do, especially when we're on that other side and when we switch out. If we switch, we're getting that 40% to do what? Use the Decisive trait to generate more Ultimate between the swap. Really, really nice. I'm going to use Swallow Soul. Now, this is very important that you place Swallow Soul on this bar. Why? Okay, let me get into this. When I come down here, I increase my max magicka by 8% while a siphoning ability is slotted. So I have to have one on each. So I want to go ahead and put Swallow Soul on my primary bar. Even if I don't use it, that's giving me an additional 8% towards my max magicka. And when I took a look at Swallow Soul, I get the minor vitality while it's slotted, increasing my healing received by an additional 8%. Okay, comes in really, really handy. One of the major changes to the Nightblade tanks also is the Dark Cloak. All right, so when I use this ability, I cloak myself in a shadow and heal 32% of my max health over 3.5 seconds. I also get the minor protection, reducing my damage taken by 8%. Think of it as like a DK's Green Dragon Blood, right? So I'm going to use this. It's going to provide a hot, and I'm going to get a buff out of it. Really comes in handy. Of course, Aggressive Warhorn. That's pretty standard on majority of our tank builds. Okay. Frost Staff. Very important. I have to use all my sword and board abilities on my sword and board side. On this side, we're going to use that nice Inner Rage, right? It's going to go ahead and give us a ranged taunt on top of using the Frost Staff. So if you don't want to use this and you want to rely on your Frost Staff and you want to slot another ability, this is where you would slot it. But typically, it does come in handy, you know, for that nice synergy. Okay. Also, Silver Leash. Now, remember, the changes to this ability is going to allow you to have a pull. So if I need to pull anything into me, that's where this ability comes in handy to keep the mobs off the DPS or the healer. Really, really nice. I enjoy this. This is a really big change for all the tanks across the board. Refreshing Path, once again, we went over why we have to have one shadow ability on each bar. Simple fact of it is we want to gain the Dark Vigor for this one. So just like Siphoning, where we gain max magicka, we want one shadow ability on each bar. So Refreshing Path is going to be on here, so we get that extra 3%. And over here, we get that Dark Cloak, and we get that extra 3% here. Morning or good afternoon, Shenanigan. Good morning. So we got one on each. Okay, we have one with shadow, we have one siphoning. All right, really, really nice. And keep in mind, when we activate a shadow ability, we get the Shadow Barrier passive. That's going to increase our physical and spell resistance by 5,280. Really comes in handy, especially as a tank. You really do need that. Mirage. I already explained this, but this is very big. This is going to give us our minor evasion, our minor resolve, and our minor ward. That's given an additional spell and physical resistance. So when I go ahead and click my shadow, hit barrier, now I'm at 24 and 27. Keep in mind, Blood Spawn can click in. That is very relevant. Okay, so going over that, now we're going to be using Leeching Strikes. Now remember, we're going to go ahead and be using the Elemental Weapon Expert to weave up apply status effect. We want to keep in taunts. We're not dealing damage, but essentially what we're doing is debuffing with the Elemental Weapon. Add that on top of Leeching Strike. So we're going to activate it. Our light and heavy attacks give us a heal for 1,655 health and restores 106 stamina for 20 seconds. It also restores an additional 4,270 additional stamina when the effect ends. So really, really comes in handy how this ability works on top of our elemental weapon. All right. Now we're also going to use Temporal Guard. Now this is going to be one of those abilities that's going to be hit and miss when you're going to utilize it between a Warhorn, but really comes in handy because it resets our health, magic, and stamina 4 seconds prior. It's also, while it's slotted, it's given us minor protection, reducing our damage taken by 8%. Keep in mind also with that Psijic Order skill line, we're also getting that passive for the shielding system. For the concentrated barrier, we have to have an ability slotted. So really, really nice, and that's how we're going to go ahead and utilize the Temporal Guard. Okay, and that's how the abilities are laid out. Now let's go ahead and get into the champion points. And we'll start off with the Apprentice. Now, everything's based about the potions, right, guys? We want to utilize the potions to the best of our abilities. With that, we're going to have Foresight. So we have to have 75 points into this to use Foresight. So when we drink a potion, the cost of our next magical ability within 7 seconds is reduced by 80%. Very huge for reserving resources. So we're going to put Spell Erosion at 4,257. Remember, we're a tank. We don't have a lot of penetration besides our Pierce. So any other damaging effect, we want to utilize penetration. Elemental Expert, 707. Blessed, we're going to be using self-sustaining heals, so we're going to put that at 6.17. Coming over to the Atronach, we have 9 points into Physical Weapon Expert because we're going to be doing some weaves. And we have Master at Arms at 5.23. Now, this is the big one where a bulk of our CP points are going, is in the Ritual. Why we want Last Stand. So when we fall below 20% health, we gain Major Heroism, gaining 3% ultimate every 1.5 seconds. That's going to align with what? Tava's favor. So once again, utilize it, with Decisive. Our Destro staff with the Decisive trait. So that's what we want to utilize. We want to get that Major Heroism. Okay, so Thaumaturge is going to be at 20. Nothing into Precise Strikes. Piercing, 4-2-10. And Mighty at 11-10. If you want to go ahead and downgrade the Mighty and put into Piercing, you can do that. All right, Ironclad, 4.32. Spell, I had 1 point, so I put it in Spell Shield. I know my spell resistance is a little low. Everybody's going to be like, why is Ironclad so low? Once again, passives. We're going for passives, right? Very, very important. But we're keep in mind we are a vampire, so we want to bulk up Elemental Defender to 1301, right? We want to take off, we want to shave off that extra fire damage. Hardy's at 10.15, Thick Skin at 13, right? So this is really, really good when we're taking a look at passives. Okay, so we're going to put 120 also into the Lord. Now, typically I never take it this high, but I want this passive. I want that, determination. It's going to stack the spell shield, right, when I drink a potion for 15 seconds. So when I drink a potion, I gain a damage shield, right? That will stack on top of the Psijic Order's shield system. So that's why I want to do that. I want to go ahead and increase my healing received. As a tank, can't have too much healing received, especially when you're taking a lot of damage. So we're going to 1301. We're going to focus in on the heavy armor focus. Typically, I would split this and put it into more spell resistance. But once again, passives are very important to me. So I'm going to take this at 4,257 because majority of the time I'm going to be trying to dodge attacks with this build. Okay, coming over to the tower, Warlord 10.22, Sprinter 9.17, Tenacity. We're getting a big boost. Now let me go over that. We're getting a big boost to the heavy armor for recovery, right? So when we take a look at this, and when we do, I want to say it's increase the magic or stamina, your heavy attacks restore by 25%. So we're getting 25% for our heavy attacks, right? And then when we take a look at Tenacity, we're adding an additional 9% on top of that, right? So very important. That puts us at 34% towards our recovery between our heavy attacks, whether it be Destro on the Frost to recover Magicka or Sword and Board for stamina. Okay, Arcanist 10.15, Mooncalf 10.15. I split it. Had a few points left over, so I put into health recovery. Okay. Also, Tumbling is going to be at 20, and Shadow Ward is at 22.8, and that is how the champion points are allocated. Now, keep in mind, guys, like I said, if you're going to go with any other race besides Argonian, I would recommend health regen. Health regen with Infused is really nice because guess what? Even if you're blocking, you're gaining that much health per second. So I would recommend the health recovery or block reduction if you're anything but Argonian. But if you are an Argonian tank, if you are, there is no excuse not to use the Alchemy Acceleration enchantment, especially with infused traits. It's a big boon to the Argonian. All right, very big boon. And this is a really nice build. I'm really enjoying this. Like I said, it really works because I'm going to be doing light attacks with that Psijic Order, and I'm going to get that dodge increased chance with the Glorious Defender set. Okay? Really, really nice. Your daily streams are my lullabies. Same here, Robert. Just working, killing time. Well, I hope work goes good for you guys. But anyways, I just wanted to give this update. I will be doing updated builds next week for upcoming Summerset. And I do hope you guys enjoy this one. I'm Mr. Craven. This is CSO Daily. And as always, have a nice day.